one of the toughest things in life, at least in my life experience, has been learning the difference between doing and being. I remember my counselor for years. He's like, Kenny, you just need to learn to be. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't get it. And, you hear a lot of people in this profession, whatever you want to call them, teachers or whatever, talk about, just letting things happen. Like I have a whole chapter in my book about how to let life come and not do things. And it's always been, my experience has been, it's like, well, here you are, like you've discovered it, but you can't tell me the path. Like, how do I get there? It's like they've lost the ability to tell us how they got there. And that was, I felt that way. I never understood it until I lived it. Well, the challenge is then how do you, I guess, teach others how to do it? And here's what I discovered. The difference between doing and being is like when you're doing, there's an outcome in mind. And this is why goals can be detrimental because you need that outcome. And so you do, like you keep doing things to get that outcome. And if you don't get that outcome, you're stressed out or you feel inadequate or you feel you haven't arrived because in the back and front of your mind, you're thinking, I need this thing to happen, whether it's a relationship, whether it's your career, a friendship, whatever it is, you need this thing to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then there's a sense of loss and stress and fear and anxiety. And you think that once I get it, this will go away. Well, that's doing. You keep doing until you get it. And then once you get it, you find out, oh, this isn't really what I want. See, I had that life experience. Like as a kid, I always thought I wanted to play pro sports. And I'll never forget, I dreamed as a kid of, I want to be the star and all of that stuff. And I had that typical movie moment as kids we always wanted, whether you wanted to be a singer or whatever it was, some sort of star where the whole stadium was chanting my name. And I remember as I skated off the ice, my head was down and I went, this isn't it. This isn't what I've been looking for. And that's what happens when you do. You get what you've always wanted and it's empty. And there's all this stress and striving for it because you need that outcome. Being is completely different. That's like when I discovered this is who I really am and, wrote my book and even like this. The way the topic for this came up, I had no clue. Like my brain has been really quiet with a lot of ideas because I realized I've been trying to figure it out. And so when I feel that stress and going, what should I do? Should it be this or that? Everything shuts down. It becomes a grind. That's why I always say, everyone's like, be a grinder. And the Nike philosophy of just do it. That's a lot of doing. Well, you may achieve some things, but you're almost always miserable. And once you get the thing you want, it's worthless. When I am being is when I don't have an outcome in mind. And everything in my book was pure inspiration. It just came to me. And just like this topic, I was laying by the pool earlier and I just got flooded with this vision of, wait a minute, I think I know how to communicate the difference to them. Like there was a quote that popped into my head. You can't be, it was something like I'd have to look at it, but it was the quote that came into my head while I was laying there in the sun was, until you run out of doing, you can't start being. Something along those lines. I'd have to look it up again. And what that means is all of us, we're taught this life, especially in America, we're taught this life. You've got to do, you got to go become something. Well, you do that and you spend your whole life chasing stuff, and then you get completely run down and exhausted by it, and you stop, you quit. In a sense, you give up, you let go. And that's when the world unfolds in front of you. So my point in bringing that quote up is, if your life isn't working, if you're doing everything you can in your career and your personal life and it's just not coming together, that's because you're focused on the outcome. You think that who you are and what you're meant to be in this world is tied into what you do, and you have to achieve it, and it's not. But until you run out of all the different ways you're going to try and do it, you won't be able to be. And that's the process. Like, that's what happened to me. I tried to do everything I wanted in my life, and that control of it, that need for the outcome, almost killed me. I was suicidal. And once I hit that wall of this just doesn't work, and I stopped, and I remember I wrote about it in my book. I woke up the next morning when I knew I had to stop doing, and I stood there and I went, well, what do I do now? If I'm not going to do anything, what do I do? And I just stood there just crying, dead blank. Wouldn't that be a nice feeling, to have no thought? And that's what happens when you stop doing, you stop thinking. Everything goes quiet, which is what we all want. And I finally stopped, and I just stood there crying for, I don't know, it was about a minute or so. And then what inspiration came up through me and said, go sit on the couch. Okay. And then I heard inspiration say, go to the gym. And I just kept letting that inspiration drive me. And so I have a whole nother book that's basically written. It needs some touch up. And a couple times over the last couple weeks, I've gone back to the book. I'm like, I need to do this. I need to get this out. And every time I open it up, my stomach flips. I'm like, God, no, I don't, no. There's something wrong about that. And so I don't do anything with it. Obviously, it's not meant to come out right now. I don't know why, but I'm not going to figure it out, because I know that feeling. I've learned that feeling is a red flag. And that's me trying to do, there's a belief of, I have to get this out, and I have to get this message out. And, well, I don't know if I have to. Does anyone really need to hear what I have to say? I don't know. That's up to them. I don't have that place in their life. And so when I feel that tension, remember what I said, if you're doing it, if you're feeling stress about it, that's a red flag, because you need the outcome. If you need that outcome, you're doing. When you're being, it's just an inspiration. And then the action is inspired. It just flows from you. You just keep going to it. So when I feel that resistance to, whether it's topics for my podcast, for my books, or whatever it is I do, when I feel that tension of I need to do this, I actually stop. I don't do anything. The last couple weeks, I really haven't done much work. I see clients and all that stuff, but I'm blank for inspiration and stuff like that. Well, in the past, I'd try and figure it out. I'd go do something. I'm just sitting. I'm just being. It's okay. I don't have. The inspiration will come when I stop caring about getting inspired. It's that need to be inspired that keeps it away. So, at any rate, I hope the way I tried to explain it makes more sense to you of what the power of now is like, what the law of attraction is like, what the difference is between doing and being, so you can start understanding inside yourself that when you're doing, you might achieve things, but your ultimate calling, you're actually pushing it away. It's not really what you want to do or be, but you may need to keep doing. You may need to keep doing until you run out of doing, so that you can start being. So anyway, I hope that helps you. I hope you're having a great day. And thanks for watching as always. Take care.